joining me. Congrats on Terrifier 3.
Thank you, sir. It's good to see you, man.
Yeah, likewise. I appreciate you joining me. So when, when you were putting together this franchise of yours, I mean, I was curious, how far along were you when you decided a Christmas themed Terrifier was in the cards? Was that always the plan, or did it sort of pop in when two was being made?
100%. It was not the plan. We were shooting Terrifier 2.
Yeah.
That movie took years to make. So
Okay.
we were just blowing through seasons and holidays over the course of that movie. And one day I was driving to set with my producer, Phil Falcone, and all Christmas decorations everywhere. And he just said in passing, it'd be cool, Art the Clown during Christmas. It was just like that simple. And it just immediately clicked. I was like, you know what? That would be cool. Like, why does he have to be? Well, he doesn't have to be confined or restricted to Halloween. He could be anywhere. You could put this character in any situation. You could throw him in the Wild West, and it would be hysterical, right? He'd get into some ridiculous situation no matter where he goes. So, and I just on top of that, the only reason I really decided to do it is because I have a strong love for the Christmas horror subgenre. It's always been one of my favorites. I love the harmony of cozy and terrifying,
Yeah.
which would work, but it works so well. And so my favorite is Black Christmas, the original Black Christmas,
Oh yeah.
in terms of a feature film. But my favorite Christmas horror episode, which I love more than any Christmas horror movie, is Tales from the Crypt and All Through the House. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but to me, it's the best rendition of a maniac Santa Claus, and I always loved that since I'm a kid. So this was my opportunity to take a crack at the maniac Santa Claus because it's such a cliche trope, which on one hand is what I do, right? It's the only reason I'm talking to you right now, right? I took a cliche killer clown, but I was able to do something fresh with it.
Yeah.
So I thought now, I never dreamed of making a maniac Santa Claus thing because I don't know what I could do fresh with that. But now that I could turn Art the Clown into the maniac Santa Claus, makes that fresh and it makes Art the Clown fresh. So I thought it was very exciting. And just seeing the classic Christmas trope situations we could put him in, with kids as a mall Santa or interacting with mall Santa Claus characters would be hysterical and
Yeah.
ultimately disturbing and terrifying.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. I love the end result. And yeah, those are some great references you mentioned. And yeah, I mean with number three in particular, I was curious, maybe outside of those episodes, movies you mentioned, were there any other sort of influences as you were, in the moment making part three, whether it's a Christmas horror movie or just, I don't know, a particular something you wanted to try with this one, whether it's a past filmmaker or a certain style you wanted to try that was maybe different from part one and two?
Yeah. Well, there's certainly I pay homage to so many movies that I
Yeah.
love. There's certainly a bit of Exorcist in this one,
Yeah.
with the Vicky character.
Yep. Yep.
Um, in terms of the scope and the look of this movie, I really, really wanted to try and capture the original Black Christmas vibe, but I was excited to shoot on Panavision anamorphic lenses, which I've never done before. I never even had the ability to dream I could shoot on Panavision lenses. Those lenses are more expensive than the budget of Terrifier 2. So, those are the lenses that John Carpenter always shoots his
Yeah.
films on. And one of the biggest influences on me. Of course, the original Halloween's one of my favorite movies of all time. There would be
Oh
no
yeah.
Arthur Brown without that movie.
Yeah.
So that was exciting, and I knew it would give the movie a new look, which I think is really cool because no movie looks the same. No movie has quite the same tone.
Right.
And I think as a result of that, people will gravitate toward, you know, each one of those in a different way. Some people will love three the most, and the same to this. Right now, I'd say the fan base is almost split 50-50 as to what they like more. When I ask people at cons, it's usually split down the middle, whether they like one or two better. So I think that's cool.
Yeah.
I think it opens up great conversation pieces as to why you like one over the other.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Um, do you and I know like there's been talk of Terrifier 4 and I was curious, did you
God damn
have
it.
for
I did not want that out there.
oh,
Not because of you. It wasn't your fault. That happened after the screening. at Fantastic Fest. But if you, I might as well just say it now. I mean, if you see the end of the movie, it
Oh,
is
yeah.
an obvious cliffhanger. It's like it ends like the way Empire Strikes Back ends.
Right, right,
And
right, right.
you're gonna make, is there gonna be more? I'm like, well, of course, I would never leave you in that situation as the audience. So,
Right.
but I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But
No, no, no. I would love to hear more, and I know there's probably only so much you can share, but I mean, I guess for starters, I mean, did you have, well, yeah, with the cliffhanger, but even like before conceptualizing the cliffhanger, did you envision a fourth movie
oh
all
yeah.
along, even like, putting together
Well,
the third one?
yeah, well, it wasn't so much the fourth movie, but when I wrote part two, I knew where my story was going to end. So
Got it.
then it just became a matter of building the puzzle blocks in order to get to that finale. So part three, the ending of part three sets up this insane predicament that Sienna is in and this sort of mission that she has now that is going to be her primary focus in part four. And
Yeah.
also I call this the part two and three were the supernatural detour of the Art the Clown character because I really wanted the opportunity to explore that element with the slasher that's not typically explored, at least never to this degree. Like the slasher is just supernatural. It's the trope. The boogeyman comes back, but nobody really explores why. Like, what is that evil that's resurrecting them? What is that? How does that exist? What is it? So I wanted to explore that and even turn it into a character on some level. So Art the Clown's kind of taken that supernatural detour, but now we find him again in the next installment. It'll be like going back to part one where he's on his own again. He's seemingly mortal. I can't really get into too much, but so I think that it's a cool full circle moment for the franchise. I think that's going to be satisfying, but it might leave people a little dissatisfied because they're gonna hopefully they want more at the end of Terrifier 3. I mean, and of course that's done by design. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they say you can't please everyone, but
No.
don't don't let me be a Debbie Downer, but I get it, and that does sound like a cool full circle idea. So I can't wait to see that. And in the
Thanks,
meantime,
man.
Terrifier 3 is great. So,
Thanks,
and
buddy.
and I was curious, outside of Terrifier, I mean, are there other ideas you have on the back burner that you want to turn to at any point? Something you've been itching to get off the ground outside of
Yeah,
the.
I do. I do. That one in particular, after part two came out, I got to take meetings with a lot of really cool Hollywood studios and production companies. And one of them was Ghost House Pictures, which is Sam Raimi's production company.
Right, right.
And they were asking, do I have anything else besides Terrifier, any cool ideas? And I did have one that I've been wanting to make forever. I can't go into what it is, but it is a original horror idea of mine and I presented it to them. They loved it. We put it into development. I spent months sort of cultivating it with them and fleshing it out. And then the writer's strike hit. So it was sort of, pens down, papers in, we'll circle back whenever this blows over. And so then I decided to just like focus on Terrifier 3 because I have nobody to answer to with Terrifier 3. So I just went and wrote that script instead. So there's a few factors now. It depends on how Terrifier 3 is perceived. If people really gravitate toward it and they want part four right away, I think it would benefit me to make part four as soon as possible or sooner rather than later because for one, the character's hot right now and people are interested. If I wait too long, it might just peter out. And the same goes for the slasher genre as a whole, because that's not a genre that's consistent. It comes in waves. And the last time the slasher genre was prevalent was like 20 years ago. Or it was like, it was when Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer were out, which is a long time ago, but now it's at its height again. But I think it's a short window. So I just kind of got to strike while the iron's hot. So I'll know more in a few months, I think, what
Yeah.
direction I'm going.
Yeah, I get it. That makes sense. But yeah, cool. I mean, I can't wait to hear more about that one. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it's a fun one, man. I would say it's a Damien Leone kind of level horror. I can't go into too much, but here's the cool thing is that it meets a vintage Quentin Tarantino movie. I would say that
oh,
if
nice.
if I could wish, if I could hope, I mean, Tarantino is my hero. So it's like something he would do with like bending genres and mixing genres. It would be something cool like that.
Of
Yeah.
course. Yeah. Oh yeah. He's great. What do you think is your favorite Tarantino movie if you had to pick?
So hard to say. I still think it's really hard to top Pulp Fiction,
Yeah.
but I'm a huge fan of I think Once Upon a Time. I mean, Inglorious Bastards is
Oh yeah.
a masterpiece, absolute masterpiece. And now I find myself watching Once Upon a Time in Hollywood a lot now. So
Mhm.
every one of his movies, every one of them. I've seen everyone in the movie theaters since Jackie Brown,
Oh yeah.
and he's still the only filmmaker where I have not missed a movie in the theaters since Jackie Brown. And I have to see every movie he makes in the movie theater.
Yeah. That's the
Just
way to do it.
that's the way to do it.
Have you seen any of the more recent like Christmas, not necessarily horror, but like where they juxtapose like there was like that Jeremy Saulnier movie, Hold the Dark, where it was like a Christmas movie, but it was kind of like a thriller. It was just or like there was like that Black Mirror episode of where it was like White Christmas. I was just curious like
Oh, I
yeah,
haven't. I
yeah,
have not.
yeah. They were
I've
like
been so good, buddy. I'm sorry.
no, it's just they're like it's cool that, they're even in more recent years, besides those classics you mentioned, like I think there are a lot of filmmakers out there who, like yourself, like the juxtaposition of doing Christmas next to like
Sure.
thriller, like psychological stuff. So,
What would you say the best one is if I had to watch one right away?
oh, well, that's tough, but I would say the Black Mirror episode called White Christmas.
Oh, that's cool.
It's
Yeah.
got like
All right.
John Hamm, and it's cool. You'll see.
I'll definitely
It's
watch that.
Christmas. But
I'm still watching I'm still trying to find gems from the 70s that I haven't seen because
right.
that's my favorite decade of film, late 60s through the 80s.
Oh yeah.
I just watched All That Jazz for the first
Oh
time
yeah.
last night and it blew my mind. I don't know if you
Yeah.
ever saw that, but it was absolutely incredible. It's like
Yeah.
probably become one of my favorite movies that I've ever seen,
Oh,
which
yeah.
was
Yeah. That one's great. Well,
yeah.
cool. All right. Well, I can't wait for everyone to see Terrifier 3. So thank you for taking the time to chat with me, Damien, and let's do it on the next one.
Absolutely, Will. Thanks, brother.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Take care. Nice to meet you.
You too, man.